Now, if you're considering buying a new construction or resale home here in Sarasota, but you're unsure of whether or not you want to spend a little bit of extra time and money in a new construction house, or if you want to hop right into a resale house, well, this is a good video for you, because today I'm going to give you some pros and some cons of new construction versus resale homes. If you're new here, my name is Zach Payne, and I'm a real estate agent right here in Sarasota, Florida. And this channel and all of my videos are here to help you make the most informed decisions and give you the realest insight on what it's like living here in Sarasota, Florida. So without further ado, let's go. Now I want to start off with the cons of buying new construction. And for the first one, it's pricing. Now I contemplated putting this one as a pro or a con, but really it is a con. So other than when COVID was happening and houses were going for $20,000 to $30,000 to $40,000 over asking price, and buying new construction was kind of the only way to not have to deal with multiple offer scenarios. But COVID's kind of behind us now and we're in a different market. So buying in a new construction home, the pricing is typically going to be more expensive than a resale home. You've got new gadgets and gizmos and things that just really up the price. Now, my second con of buying a new construction house over a resale house is the competition when you go to sell it. Think about it. When you buy maybe in an earlier phase of a new construction neighborhood, you really don't have a lot of competition because there's not as many houses built up yet. But maybe come 2, 3, 4 years down the line when a lot more houses have been built out, now it's time for you to sell your house. Well, now you're competing with the builder. You see, builders really have a big budget to compete with and create competitive pricing and offer a lot of incentives. Now you, the seller, the only advantage that you really have is marketing your home as completely built out and done with no wait time. But typically people who are gonna spend that kind of money would just rather have the brand new home anyways. So my number 2 con is the competition. Now my third con for buying a new construction house is the wait time. In this neighborhood, you're still looking at about a year to be built out. Now, if you're on a tight timeline or you just don't want to wait a whole year for your house to be ready to move into, then resale is really your only other option. Now, my fourth issue or con with buying a new construction house is the quality issues that can arise. Now, yes, you do get a home inspector to come in after you get your closing done, but there's still things that maybe he can't find. Things like quality issues or workmanship issues that can arise after the fact. I mean, it's like you wait a year for your home to be built. You wait all this time, you spend all of this money for still there to be problems that you might have to deal with yourself. Now, if you're lucky, then you might catch these issues while your home is still under warranty. If you're not so lucky, then you've got to deal with these basically all on your own and on your own dime. Something to think about. Now, this one isn't as serious as the other cons, but it can still be important to many people. New construction neighborhoods typically lack the mature trees, established greenery, and neighborhood character found in older areas. It'll take time for the community to develop and get that sense and identity of a community and the spirit that a community has. Now, another issue I have with new construction is the wait time. And no, I'm not talking about the 1 year that you have to wait before closing on your house. I'm talking about the shortages of workers, supplies, everything that comes along with the issues that go with building a new construction house. So that 1 year time, that's if everything goes according to plan. Hurricane comes by, your house is gonna take longer than a year to build. If anything other than what's perfect happens, you're looking at longer than what you expect to build your house. And my last and final issue with buying a new construction is living in a construction zone. Like I mentioned earlier, it will and can take a lot longer to build houses than what you expect. And for that reason, you might have bought a house early on in the building process, and now you've got to sit around and live in a construction zone for the next 5, 6, 7, 8, a year, however many months it's going to take for the rest of the homes to be built around you. Now, that can not be as bad if you're not living in the house full time. But if you're retired and you're going to be in the house all the time, if you work from home, you're going to be in the house all the time, you're going to hear all of those noises that come with construction. Drills, power tools, guys yelling, loud trucks moving around. They play loud music all the time. And the worst thing that I've experienced is nails in your tires. You're inevitably going to get a nail in your tire driving through a construction zone as often as you will be. And as often as you're gonna have people coming in and out of your house, or maybe even just on your street, you're inevitably going to see garbage everywhere. The wind's gonna take it, pick it up, move it into your yard. It's inevitable. Another con I have of buying in new construction neighborhoods is kind of the limited location and options that you have, especially here in Sarasota. Right here, we really only have a few different options. Now, there are a ton of new construction neighborhoods, but it seems like they're almost in a bunch of little pockets. For example, like Lakewood Ranch, you've got Waterside, you've got all of Lakewood Ranch, but there's really only that kind of new construction there. You have a few east of I-75, like Artistry, which is where I'm at now, in places like Sky Ranch, and then Palmer Ranch, with a few newer neighborhoods kind of popping up in southern Palmer Ranch. But other than that, that's really it. Unless you want a new construction house, maybe built by a custom home builder who's just buying up lots and reselling the new custom home on that lot, but you're really not finding a ton of new construction neighborhoods throughout Sarasota. It's just a few little pockets in those areas I mentioned, like Palmer Ranch, Lakewood Ranch, and east of 75. All right, now for our last con, I want to take you outside so I can explain it. Come on. All right, so for my last con of buying a new construction, it's the limited privacy that you get with these new houses. New construction is built on an 1/8 of an acre lot, and if you can hear that, that's kind of what it's like. You're always gonna have sounds and noises and neighbors, things that are going on, people are having fires, people are making noise. If you wanna spend time outside, this is something you're gonna have to get used to. And it's something like this right here. There's always something going on. There's places, there's music being made. Cut. Another con I have of buying in a new construction neighborhood is the CDD and HOA fees. Now see, developers need funding to continue developing in these areas, and to do that, they kind of get it by charging a CDD fee. On the same hand though, you also are gonna be paying higher HOA fees just because these new communities are always gonna have higher end amenities than more established neighborhoods. You're gonna have newer pools, nicer pools, bigger community areas. The majority of them are gonna be maintenance free, so you don't have to mow your own lawn or trim your own hedges, but you're paying for all of these things. So there's a trade-off. Well, let's start with some pros of buying a new construction house. My first one is it's a brand new house. There's no one else that's lived in it. It's basically a clean slate. You can make all the memories you want in it. It's yours. And you can kind of personalize it however you'd like. There's something to be said about buying a home that no one else has ever lived in before. It's a good feeling, you know? Now, my second pro of buying a new construction house is you're gonna have the top of the line safety features. You're gonna have things like impact windows and glass, new sturdy doors. Your house is gonna be built up to the latest codes. These kinds of things are really important and give you that peace of mind when living in the home. Now, my third pro of new construction is the limited maintenance that you have, especially within the first few years. There's really nothing that you're gonna need to touch within maybe 5 to 10, 15 years at the most. I mean, you have no new water heater, you got a brand new roof, brand new doors, nothing is really gonna go wrong. And I mean, let's hope at least. Now, next up, we have all the customization options that buyers have when buying a new construction. I mean, you can go from, if you have a custom builder, you can basically change whatever you want, from the layout, where the windows go. We want a 1-car garage, 2, 3-car garages. You can change everything. But even with spec homes, you can choose kind of like what kind of backsplash you want, if you want the tile to go all the way up in the bathrooms. There's a lot of things that you're still able to customize that you really can't do in a resale home unless you're really adding all of that extra money on top of it. Now, my next pro of buying a new construction house is the warranty that comes along with that house. And this is something you really don't get with resale houses. And the warranty can last for up to a year, can cover structural issues, can cover cosmetic issues, appliances that might be defective. It really gives you that added peace of mind. New construction neighborhoods, you typically get more amenities than resale homes. You get things like walking trails, hiking trails, you get playgrounds, new community pools, recreational facilities. Usually those have gyms in them. You've got kind of like hangout areas. You get a lot more things definitely than you do with those older neighborhoods. All right, now I want to move over a little bit and talk about the pros and cons of buying a resale home. And one of the biggest ones is the established neighborhood feel. You see, when you buy in a new construction community, they don't really have time for those big trees to grow. So they're like little baby things that really don't have any shade or really any character to them. When you buy into an already established community, all of that foliage, that greenery, it's already there. Pro number 2 is gonna be the quick move-in dates. Unlike new construction homes where you have to wait at least a year before closing, with resale homes, you can move in as little as 30 days, maybe even less, depending on the type of offer and how financing goes. So that is definitely a huge pro if you're on a constricting timeline. Pro number 3 is gonna be the ability to negotiate. Yeah, you can negotiate with new builders and stuff, and they've got some nice incentives, but a lot of the times, sellers, when you're dealing with real people, they've got major incentives on why they need to sell their home. And sometimes you can kind of take advantage of that and maybe get yourself an even better deal on a resale home than you could on a new construction build. All right, now my fourth pro is the options that you have when buying in resale versus new construction. Like, I know I mentioned it before, but really with new construction, you're only limited to 3 parts of town: Lakewood Ranch, Palmer Ranch, and a few neighborhoods east of I-75. The rest is resale homes. You can find condos, villas, townhouses, single family homes, big ones, little ones. The options are in the resale for sure. Okay, now my last pro of resale over new construction is the peace and privacy. If you're a family or just someone who values that sense of space, you're going to want to go with resale. See, new construction communities are built on 1/8 of an acre lots, which means they're tightly squished together. Resale homes typically are built on 1/4 acre of a lot or even more. So you have a little bit more elbow room between your neighbors, which means you can do things like cooking out, swimming in the pool, and not have to listen to your neighbors. You're not gonna smell the smoke from their fire, their cigarettes, or if they're smoking a little bit of pot. You know, you're not gonna have any of those issues. But with new construction homes, you're right up against them. You have no side wall, you have no side yard. You really can't walk between there. The water's always getting up in there. Imagine if you're taking a lawnmower in between a new construction house, you're tearing up the yard and you're getting mud everywhere. I've done it a couple of times, it sucks. But with these resale homes, space, privacy, are your biggest aspects that you have here in resale houses. All right, now we gotta go on and talk about some of the negatives, because yes, there are negatives of everything. Now, for resale homes, the biggest one that you're gonna face is the maintenance that might be required even right after you buy the house. You might need a new roof, you might need a new water heater, AC. I mean, those kinds of things are kind of typical because sometimes the homes are built in the early 2000s. It's 2024 now. Some of those homes are 24 years old or even older. So there are things that might need to be done. So there is that. On a similar note, these things might not be mechanical requirements to update the house, but sometimes there are some cosmetic things that need to be done. Remember, like I just said, 24-year-old houses, they're going to need a few things. There might be some 1970s wallpaper in some of the bathrooms that you might just not like that much. You might need to do some modernization. Is that the right word? Modernization? Modernizations to the house. But either way, there's probably gonna be some added expenses that you gotta tack on to that sales price at the end of the day. Kind of happens. But you know, as long as you're prepared and kind of expect it going in, and maybe you can adjust your offer price for that, you know, it kind of makes up for it in the end. Another issue that sometimes comes up with resale homes is they're really not as energy efficient as these newer homes are. Unless you buy a home that has brand new windows, brand new doors, all the ceilings have been replaced, window ceilings, not ceilings. The roof might need to be repaired. These kinds of things allow air, hot air into the home. And when it's summertime and you're trying to crank that air down to 65 degrees, you're gonna have some of that hot air seeping in and just making it less efficient. All right, now this is my biggest con with buying resale homes, and that is the issue with insurance. Really, at this point, it doesn't matter how your house was built or if your roof is new or whatnot. If your house is just older, insurance agencies kind of have like this prejudice on older homes, regardless of if they were built with concrete block or wood, what kind of roof they have. If it's strapped, those things will get you discounts, but it's still not going to be as cheap as if you were to buy a new construction house, just simply because of that build date saying anything after 2018, 2010. Don't quote me on that, but that's really what I'm seeing out here in Sarasota right now. You know, if you don't have brand new electrical equipment or new safety features or new appliances, it just adds up, and these insurance people really just don't care about anything anymore. They're just gonna hike up your insurance to whatever they can. All right guys, now I hope after watching this video, you've gotten a better idea of whether or not you want to look into new construction or resale here in Sarasota. If you have any questions about buying or selling right here in Sarasota, Florida, reach out to me. I'll put my number right down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.